Welcome to Arkadaşlar. Today we're talking about solutions. Solutions to the topics we spoke previously. So topics such as drugs, stress, karma, the issues that parents have with their children. These solutions will look at the techniques that we need to develop in order to be able to manage, if not eliminate, all of these causes. This is probably my favourite topic because here we talk about the forces that can actually counteract and counterbalance the drugs, the stress, the karma, and all the things that are causing us to have problems between family and children, etc., etc. I want to talk to you about what forces exist in each and every human being. There's a part of us called the consciousness. This consciousness is extremely important. It's the consciousness that the ego is trapping. So when the anger expresses itself, the anger is actually forcing the consciousness, which is love, to be suppressed. So it doesn't express itself. So our objective is to get this consciousness out. So I want to talk to you about some really basic steps to do this. First of all, let's talk about the day. Let's talk about how we start the day. So when we wake up in the morning, the first thing that we do as human beings is we start thinking about the cup of coffee. We start thinking about how quickly I can get dressed so I can get on the road and get to work, etc., etc. So we're already traveling extremely fast. So we're already thinking about the things that will happen during the day. And this is where the problem is. Because here, at this very moment, we're unconscious. We're not actually observing the process. If we were to take another point of view, for example, if we were to wake up in the first 5 minutes, just breathe. Just perceive. We've woken up, we're going to live another day. So we're perceiving the energy, we're perceiving the air, we're perceiving the fact that the sun is rising. This is a very different state to the one that I just explained earlier. And this difference is, one of them is that we're repeating mechanically, like robots, unconsciously, exactly what we did the day before. Whereas in the second stage, where we become aware, we become conscious, it's a very different state. It's a more aware, more conscious state. If we do some research, we'll find that between 12 and 70,000 thoughts are going through our mind every single day. That is extremely, extremely excessive. We don't need 70,000 thoughts to be going through our day. The reason why there's so many thoughts going through our day is we've built so many different psychological eyes, desires, projections, memories. We can't process all of this without experiencing the stress and the anxiety. But if we slow this process down, if we slow down the process of thinking, if we don't allow every single thought to enter the mind like it was just open space to anybody, then our life would start to change. This consciousness has an expression in us, it's called our essence. Our essence is not an easy thing to see because it's not common. The easiest way to see the essence is from birth to the age of 7, we have essence. If you observe a child, for example, if you observe a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, you see the essence, you see their power. They're very aware of what's going on. They're not stressed. They're not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. And even if they're not doing anything important, if all they're doing is sitting down and playing with a simple little toy, they are in an extreme state of happiness. They don't have any of the things that we have. They may not have the cars, the yachts, the airplanes, and the bank balance. But they're in a state of happiness. They're in a state of happiness because they have a connection to these 3 forces. A child already has a very good connection to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or truth, love, and sacrifice. That's a topic that we spoke a couple of weeks ago. If you're not familiar with it, please go back and look at that topic. But basically, the essence of our talk today, in this particular topic, is that we can be extremely happy without needing any of the physical things. The physical things do pay, for example, the income pays the rent, that's fine. The money also pays the fuel that makes the car go, that's fine. And we need to do all those things. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we need, if we can, we need education. If we can get to university and have a degree, great. What we shouldn't do is expect that those things, so if we draw this, this is the physical world. In the physical world we have car, house, and money, and none of these equal happiness. what equals happiness is in the spiritual world, and that's truth, love, and sacrifice. These equal happiness. So we need to find the way to move away from depending on all of the things that we're used to, which is that we live extremely fast, we drive fast, we talk fast, we do everything fast. We don't even allow a gap between one or another appointment. If we're 5 minutes late to an appointment, that creates stress in us. And really, what's going to happen? Even if you're 5 minutes late, what really is going to happen? Because when we look at the life of the soul is thousands and thousands of years. It's not 100 years, it's not 200 years. So for those who've understood this process, you'll observe something very interesting. If you observe a master, a Dalai Lama, or a Jesus Christ, or a Prophet Muhammad, these men are extremely, extremely in tune with the moment. They're not rushing, they're not in a hurry to get somewhere. They're always in that very interesting state of being just calm with themselves. And when they solve things, they solve it in a very harmonious manner. We need to understand what this substance is. It's called consciousness. It's what we wrote up here. So consciousness has various techniques. In order for us to reach consciousness, we need truth, we need love, and we need sacrifice. We need to create a relationship with these three forces. We need to live a life of goodness. This is where it starts. If we're trying to think, sometimes we get this idea, what's the point in being good? Because I'm sometimes good with people, but all I do is get bad. That's just a silly idea, because goodness is never wasted. If you're being good to someone, even if that person doesn't appreciate what you do, the universe is seeing everything. The universe always pays us back. In fact, there's a very interesting example. Someone wrote this up. They said good is very close to God, because all you do is take one O away. So if we want to head towards God, if we want to be more conscious, we need to learn the art of being good. The next one is love. Love is it's an extremely difficult thing. The moment we start talking about love, love usually disappears. Love is something that we need to do without even thinking. We need to be able to help somebody that we've never met in our life. If we see someone begging, what harm is it to give them $5 or $10? It's not going to make us bankrupt, but it might put a smile on that person's face. And the last one is sacrifice. I want to spend a little bit of time here. We usually find that the first two forces, the Father and the Son, for example, the Father represents us receiving energy. It's when we wake up in the morning and we receive the Son. And the Son is the expression of us using the energy. And as a humanity, we don't have any problems with that. We actually work quite well with these two forces. We're happy to receive and we're happy to use. Here's where the problem is. The problem is with sacrifice. It's very difficult for us to sacrifice. It's very difficult for us to say, now that I have all of that I need, whether it's money or it's other kind of possessions, we find it very difficult to pass on. We find it very difficult to give. We need to develop this art, if you like, because it is an art of sacrifice. Recently I was in Rome and I was exiting a church after meditating for about half an hour. And it was really interesting because some of the people that were getting ready to actually go in and pray were putting, they were getting the candles ready and so forth. And on the other side I could see a lady came through into the church and she had her hand open and she was ready to beg. And these 6 or 7 people, they literally disappeared very quickly into the church. It was very fascinating for me to observe because I was very interested in what was happening here. We're in a church, which is a very holy place. And this lady is coming in to ask for some money so she can feed herself. And these people who are going to sit down and ask God for help have disappeared into the church. Of course, the lady had no choice. Then she turned around and she came to me and my 2 friends and we gave her some coins and she was saying, grazie, grazie, which obviously is thank you in Italian. What was interesting is that this is the situation of humanity. We want to ask God for help. But when it's actually our turn to be helping someone, we're not all that comfortable with that. Okay, just repeating. If you have any questions regarding today, or the topics we've spoken about previously, please email us at samozluk@gmail.com or visit us at www.samozluk.com.au. And on behalf of Arkavakcha and the team here, once again, thank you very much and we'll see you next time.